been playing it quite a lot outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple weeks ago, we saw it in the U.S. Nationals when Mouz played against Cloud9. Bank was Cloud9's pick. They won by a score of 6-3. So right there shows that the last time that Mouz has any info on this, that they are definitely beatable.
Yeah.
First ban is going to be a Hibana being banned out by EG, and then Lion, no surprises there, being taken out by Mouz.
So the Hibana ban is very similar to why you would see a Hibana ban on Clubhouse. It's just going to reinforce that basement hold, make it so much more powerful. And the Lion ban is just like you would see a Lion ban on literally any other map in this entire game. It's because he's just going to make the attack so much more powerful. Maestro and Mira are going out, also not that surprising. We talked about it earlier, how it tends to be a case where both teams will want to cripple the defense, the anchors specifically, with targeted bans against operators like Maestro, Echo, Mira, and the like.
And it's sensible that you'd see a Lion ban with how high of a ban rate Mira has, because Mira's pick rate has never been higher than when we were in the midst of that Lion meta. If you recall, a lot of teams would run Mira, they would run Valkyrie, they would run a Mute Jammer, they would run Legion, they would run whatever they could to try and stop the rush that would come whenever Lion would use his gadget. And what better than to be able to see your opponents coming than playing behind an active Mira?
Yeah, you had to slow it down somehow.
Yes.
That was the only real option, and it's alleviated by the operator ban phase now, because a Lion doesn't get to get played because he's banned almost all the time. But when he's not banned, he does see play. Because of that, there's a little bit more versatility in terms of strategy. Teams have been practicing a mirror-less, setup on these defenses, because she gets banned a lot too. Because you don't have a Lion, then she's still really good. Now, it's going to be basement here for Evil Geniuses to start things off, and they have been leaning heavily into the information in terms of their operator picks. You can see that they've got a Pulse and a Valkyrie and an Echo to fill that role. That's going to be in lieu of Mira, because she was banned.
Putting Necrox on the smoke and Young on the Echo is going to give a lot of strength to this anchor style of play that we're going to see from EG, even though they do tend to extend their site play outside of the site. That's why you see Young posting up inside of the garage with a deployable shield there. It also allows him to possibly retreat towards that bank van that sits not too far off the deployable shield if he needs to. For Mouse's side of things, a Glaz coming out from Vertical. So Vertical has been known to be running IQs, Zophias, possibly even Maverick, is going to go with an operator that might not be as quick or as nimble, but will still be able to provide a lot of pain to the defenders. He's going to be doubled up a lot of times with their entry of Hyper here on Capitao. So both of the main entry fraggers, well, at least one of them will be left having to shoulder a lot of the weight. Geo upstairs, nobody sees him, and the Valkyrie will just clobber the Glaz, and Vertical falls within the first 50 seconds.
And that's the Glaz of all operators. We saw this happen in the previous match, Space Station and SK. SK managing to lose their Glaz early on, and it did cost them the round. So that could do the very same thing to Mouz now, as he is such a powerful operator when you go for the site push, but he's just one of the worst for clearing out roamers. Now, Mouz still have to take control of the server, and actually it will just be given to them, as Evil Geniuses at the halfway mark are just going to call the retreat back into the site. Probably the right decision there, playing off of the time and knowing that they don't need to hold on to server any longer. And it's actually going to delay quite a lot, as Mouz are not going to be aware of it until England drone it out, and that took them a full 25 seconds, which is not great.
I mean, you still have all the utility that comes with the crossbow of Capitao. You've got the smokes available. You've still got the asphyxiating bolts. You can lock them down there on defense when you need to. But the biggest hindrance that you're going to have here is, NVK gets very aggressive, and we'll find a Claymore that was set up by Beastly. That's a no thank you, no sir, so long to the Vigil. But that's a pure fragging operator. That'll also eliminate the main flank player from EG. So no real concern there now, as Mouz can rest a little bit easier knowing that the flank is not going to come out quite as much as they wanted. You got a C4 also in the hands of Gio as he's prone by this open wall. No mirror there for him to be able to gather intel from. Great throw, and so long England. Vandal will toss out a frag grenade. He'll trade off a Necrox. Great projectile play, but Vandal going for the plant. Young will post up another C4, this time from Canadian, as the Pulse will just toss his explosive out, and a silent drop from Hyper as he'll hit the deck. No chance whatsoever. Both Gio and Young will just simply gun them down, and a great round from EG to start things off, as Mouz, desperate to get back towards the site. Won't happen.
Nice hold there for Evil Geniuses. I really like the calculated nature of their plays, the fact that they decided to fall back on the halfway mark. You know, sometimes that could be a good decision, sometimes it could be a bad decision. In this case, I think it was the right call, though you could point a finger at Mouz and say they didn't capitalize fast enough, because when you fall off a server and you still have a pretty strong hold on it, it can often mean that you're going to just not be able to delay as long. Though because Mouz were slow to drone out the server, it did manage to work in Evil Genius's favor. And on top of that, ultimately, in any scenario, I think it was the right call in this instance, because Evil Geniuses were relying heavily on the C4, and if they had lost anyone in server, then they would have lost some C4. And it did work out for them in the end. So, Archives Tellers, the next defense for EG. And this is a great site to hold. We've seen this actually as a primary site before from multiple teams, although seeing it as a secondary is pretty standard. It goes all the way back to the oldest days of Bank being played in Pro League, where the basement and the tellers would be the sites that everyone would hold, and pretty much nowhere else.
Yeah. So transitioning here over to round number 2, set up from above. Nothing outside of the ordinary in terms of the fact that Young is castled off above, and will now go for a barricade, 2 barricades actually, upstairs in the janitorial closet. Usually you'll need a mirror in order to pull this one off, but I'm assuming that they'll probably be using the yokai drones and the Valkyrie cameras just to try and make up for the fact that you don't have those 2 windows there at your disposal. I mean, Mira has also made both the CEO site upstairs as well as open area below very, very defendable, so her impact on this site in particular cannot be overstated.
So, quickly into ATMs, Vertical is going to use his Jackal to detect an opponent. Unsure entirely who that is, but it seems to be someone on a far end of the map. You can see that Canadian playing up by the elevator hallway on the top floor, just trying to disrupt this push ever so slightly. He has a well-placed yokai drone that's going to give him great information on the push into the main lobby before dropping down to the lower elevator hall. Vandal has managed to work his way into CEO, so that cuts off a lot of rotation. It's a very powerful position for the attackers to have, especially when you're attacking the main lobby. So the setup right now for Mouz is looking great.
They're just trying to hunt down that yokai drone here. As I don't know if they think there's a body playing inside of the elevator or not, but I mean, they've got 3 people that are all committed to a non-existent foe, as the Echo has fallen very far off of that elevator play. You had the IQ, you had the Sledge, and you had the Jackal all upstairs just trying to see who was playing over in elevators.
This is a flaw that we saw in the previous round from Mouz. Their droning has not been great so far. So we're only 2 rounds in, but they have wasted a lot of time trying to face check things instead of just droning them out. They are going to be able to thermite open that teller's wall, and Necrox will take down Vandal in payment for the teller's wall. Evil Geniuses still have plenty of utility to deny the push into the actual site. Gio, a kill upstairs. We've seen this before, and it looks like it's going to repeat itself here in the second round. Gio has just been so devastating on that Valkyrie.
Smoke from Necrox will try to choke off any push that comes in through the teller's desk. And then Necrox just unable to control that SMG-11. A pair of kills from Mouz posted up. Canadian and Necrox off the board. You've taken out the Echo as well as the Smoke. So 2 of your best plant denial operators gone. Still, a Nitro Cell in the hands of Gio. Nobody watching. Spiral Stairs tries for a second kill. Can only pick up 1. England will manage to refrag as Gio goes down. NVK and Young We'll have to duel off against England and Beastly. Plant going down, and a fire arrow will land, but just outside of Young, he'll go for a rotate easily. Beastly catches it. NVK only one up. He's got an ACOG at his hands. Diffuser is down. He'll see for a second there the Thermite. Cannot land the shots needed. Asphyxiating Bolt will miss. Capitao will peek around to the right. NVK looks towards the left. Just waiting to see if either of them will move. Oh, from the shelving units. Nobody. For the time being, NVK will have to creep back up. Mark's coming down. He sees the Thermite, but fires a little too early. England closes that one out, and Mouz will answer back after losing round number 1. It's all tied up.
That was a great read from Mouz. They saw that there were too many players for Evil Geniuses off site, determined that they could just push through tellers and make it all the way into archives to plant the diffuser eventually. They took a lot of damage because of the lack of a flank watch. However, they did manage to persevere in the end. And that is impressive, especially considering, again, how much work Geo managed to put into that round. Now, Teller's going to be the defense once more. Evil Geniuses sticking to their guns here. And I think rightfully so. They made a lot of really small mistakes that cost them that round that could easily be rectified. I think a lot of it just coming down to the anchor play not being great, just a little bit distracted. And, you know, if they're able to pull off the same flank once more and the anchors stay alive for a little bit longer maybe, then it's probably going to be an Evil Geniuses round.
I mean, if Necrox had waited 10 seconds for Geo to finish his flank onto the spiral stairs, you have your smoke still alive, you have Valkyrie get the crucial kill that you need, and Geo maybe doesn't even need to try for that second follow-up kill because they know that they have the bodies on site to take care of the Thermite, who was played by the main door. So, I mean, that right there was just a little small mistake, but it ended up snowballing, and you lose Necrox early, you lose the Toxic Babes that could have gone out to stop that plant, you then have Geo have to get more aggressive and give up his position. All those things contributed to the fact as to why EG let that round, which seemed very winnable, slip through their fingers. And Mouz, you got to give them a lot of credit for the way that they were able to bounce back and make that read and rotate it and get the plant off.
Yeah. I just, when you saw the peak from Necrox, the question that runs through your mind is just why? Why? You know, I mean, you got an opportunity there. I recognize that, but also you're playing smoke, and you're the layer of defense for that site. Anyway, what's done is done, and Mouz will be attacking onto Tellers once more. So see if they can make it work again. But obviously, some really small mistakes that Evil Geniuses can correct by just not peeking, and we could see them manage to take this round. So Vertical going to be pushing into ATMs again, is going to find the footprints of the Valkyrie, who is moved to the other side of the building. And that's not a whole lot of useful information there, but it is still one position of your opponents. Clearly, it's going to be the same setup for Evil Geniuses, and the drone will detect that Canadian playing inside of that top garage, or sorry, top elevator hallway, pardon me. But the question is, are they going to get fixated on this once more? Because last time it actually wasted a lot of time for Mouz, and they really cannot afford for that to happen again.
I'm curious to see how Canadian died in that last round, because that echo could have been really crucial here at being able to give information as to where Mouz is. Of course, you saw the one Valkyrie cam get taken out, but it's likely, I would imagine, that EG is probably doubled up with a second cam inside a lobby to give them a greater and wider coverage, as Vertical just, in the slowest fashion possible, will tiptoe up those main stairs. He's got one Jackal track left, so he's used two quite successfully. The Sledge of Vandal currently doing drone work, but will confront the castle barricades inside of this conference room. So right now, the way that you've got Mouz positioned upstairs, if they can be swift and clear out that one closet, they can get pretty decent control here. The biggest problem, there's not a ton of time left for them to then pull that off and then get towards the site.
Look at this, though. There's only Necrox on the site right now. He is the single anchor to deny a Teller's push. There's also likely a Yokai drone in position to deny a diffuser plant. We cannot be certain. Yes, indeed, here we go. From the main lobby, he is going to be able to likely deny a diffuse plant if it comes down to default. You can see that the rest of the Evil Geniuses players are in good position to spring into action, but oh no, Necrox's optic blocking his vision of Hyper, and the kill will go to the IQ of Mousesports. Great play there, and good timing to catch Necrox off guard.
And I mean, that was also the IQ of Hyper trying to hunt down the Yokai drone. That wasn't even him trying to go for a frag. Necrox just happened to be there, and Beastly will catch Geo as Geo's looking the wrong way. Good read here from Canadian as he's got a couple bodies from Mouz spotted on his Yokai drone, which still has not been detected. Amidst the smoke, there you go. Canadian will use one burst, and NVK will have to come in and do some fragging on his own as that Yokai drone will get taken out, and both members of EG could possibly get boxed out. A great read from Vandal to take down NVK. Refrag from Canadian. Vertical gets dropped, but Canadian will need to ace. He's got 2 kills, a pair. He'll need the trio to collect it all. He's got under half HP, and he sees long range England, who will shut it down yet again. The Thermite doing more than what is asked of him. That's 2 in a row for Mouz.
Great job from Mouz, attacking onto Teller successfully twice. Now, Evil Geniuses will get to go back to the basement, the position they were so successful on the first round. But based on the play from Mouz in that last round and the previous one, they look really good right now. And one thing we do need to mention is that when Evil Geniuses were successful in holding the basement, a big part of that was their C4 play and their ability to roam on the top floor, as well as taking out that glass very early on. Because the glass died in the top floor to Geo in that first round, when they are actually pushing the site, there was no way for the attackers to counter the C4 tosses, or anything else for that matter. Just the simple smoke cover was not enough to allow for a diffuser plant. And that's obviously going to change now if Mouz don't send their glass upstairs to clear roamers. And that could change the outcome of the round.
Or at least drone.
Or at least drone ahead.
Or at least drone ahead to make sure that there's nobody lurking over on the south side of that second floor, over by stock, or janitor, or conference room, or anywhere.
See, that's the thing with Mouz so far in their attacking half. Their droning has been pretty bad. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that they managed to make it work with what they've been doing so far on Tellers. It's definitely something they need to work on, for sure. But they're winning their fights. And if you can win your fights with a lack of information, then you're still winning the rounds, then so be it. But imagine what you could do with more information.
Yeah, the fact that Mouz is able to just out-frag EG has been working quite well. But the other thing that's really been working against EG is, as you mentioned, Necrox was the only person that was on site for a while there. And then when he went down, EG was completely boxed out. It's one thing if you want to invest that many bodies in a roam. It's one thing if you want to keep members off site. And as Nick's pointed out in the previous matchup on Clubhouse, find yourself on a map that favors retakes. We've seen a number of teams be able to retake on Bank. It's not outside of the ordinary, but you need to make sure that you're not going to have all the enemy sites trained at the few locations through which you can retake. And both times on Teller's Archives, that's exactly what we saw from Mouz, just lining up exactly where they figured EG was going to come from, and they were right every time.
So top of server stairs is going to be Hyper Vandal droning in front of him, and there are still enemies inside of server. So this is potentially some kills if Vandal calls it outright. Claymore going to be going down here and just trying to watch for the rush. I'm not sure why he's droning for himself when he has 2 teammates who were droning as well. Though he, I guess, is just trying to get his own view of the situation in server. Both of the roamers, though, will fall back as his teammates flashbang flashes him. And that's Evil Geniuses falling back to the site. They wasted even more time this round than they did the first time.
You don't have Hyper go on drone there and just have him try to play for the Jaeger. You catch that Jaeger as he tries to rotate in towards the site, and you get that kill. That was a miscue there from Mouz, and as you pointed out, exactly well put. Their drone work really needs some improvement here.
Now, Evil Geniuses have all the information they could ask for. With Canadian inside of that gold vault, he's going to be able to call out the actual plant. He knows exactly where the heartbeat needs to be for a plant to be going down. I'm sure he's practiced that many times over. And because of that, he can call the exact moment when a C4 needs to land. And with so little time left, that's going to be huge for this push.
There you go. The glass will drop. Vertical beheading Geo as the C4 will be gone.
Oh,
what a flick from Vertical! Goodbye, Canadian! The pulse absolutely destroyed Third round in a row where Mouz will be able to get that plant down. And Vertical looking for another. He's going to line him up. That's a third for Vertical. He's got the sniper in his hands. He sees a fourth, not able to connect. Oh no, he gets out-dueled by NVK, trying to get them all, but NVK won't be around for that much longer, as it's the SMG-11 from Vandal, able to pick him off. And for the third round in a row, it's going to be England who's going to get the final kill, coming in clutch. Big when his team needs it. Great tracking there from the Thermite. 3 rounds, 3 successful defuse plants, 3 in favor of Mouz. And EG really struggling to get this match off to a start.
So we just witnessed how impactful that kill onto Glaz was in the first round. Geo managing to get Glaz on the top floor and allowing for what we just witnessed to not happen is the only reason that Evil Geniuses currently have a single round. So, great job to Vert and Mouz overall, setting themselves up right. And the crazy thing is, that round went better in the first 2 minutes for Evil Geniuses than it had in the previous attempt to defend the basement. The only difference, of course, being that, yeah, the Glaz wasn't killed. But that's, wow, what a difference. Now, because that Glaz was able to dissect the entire Red Hall defense and then later lodge himself inside of Gold and just lay fire down on all of the rotating Evil Geniuses players, there wasn't a whole lot of potential for a retake. And if it weren't for the bars, that probably would have been an ace.
Yeah. I mean, you could see him. He was so frustrated trying to hit the Echo all the way down range that when the new target of the Jaeger popped up in front of him, he couldn't make the adjustments on his aim necessary at the last second. And the 4.16 carbine that Jaeger brings is probably one of the best guns on defense and one of maybe the most powerful guns in the entire game. At close range like that, especially with as good of a shot as NVK is, unlikely that he's going to be missing enough, and Vertical just simply got out-dueled from close range. What a play, though. I mean, he just walked right in and he made that site his own. Yeah,
he certainly did. Now, it's going to be basement for the last defense for Evil Geniuses. They've gone here 3 times now, and, oh, okay then. Hyper's dead. You know, why is Hyper dead? Hang on a second. I'm thinking, oh, no drone. No one droned in front of him. Oh, that's crazy. Huh. Weird.
The fact that Mousesports is right now up 3-1, with the fact that their droning has really not been where it needs to be, speaks volumes, I think, about the way that EG has played. And if it wasn't for Geo just absolutely running up the score, I don't even think they have the single first round.
You know, to be fair, it was a Vigil. But also, if he's using his ability in server, that's kind of obvious, you know? No matter what situation you're looking at there, it's that, yeah, hey, there's a Vigil in server, maybe pump the brakes a little bit. More importantly, there wasn't actually a drone, as far as we could tell. It didn't seem like there was one at all, whether it was Vigil or not. So, no matter the situation there, definitely an oversight for Mouz. You know, based on how they've been playing so far, they might be able to recover it. They lost their Capital, though. Probably one of the most influential operators for this attack. And they don't have a Glaz.
NVK has also been reset. So you find that the life that was lost from the Vigil will be regained at least in half. Still expecting a possible play through that server is Vertical, but what angle are you holding when England is already in getting the wall? Good choice for Vertical to fall off of that hard hold and wait for England to try to go for the plant here. Coverage from above on Vandal. And you got to imagine, EG are going to need to contest upstairs in a hurry. Geo still does hold that C4. Last time around, Vertical quite literally just dropped and killed the Valkyrie of Geo. Great toss there, but will miss. And Geo is still just laying prone. Trying to do some caliber-based destruction there to open it up to make it a little easier to toss one of those frags down. And there you have it. But it will bounce right over top of Geo.
That is such a hard angle to make work. You need it to detonate just as it bounces off of the top of that box in the hallway. And then only then is it really going to be doing enough damage to down Geo. But not to be. C4 still in hand of the Valkyrie. And the flashbangs will blind. C4 will detonate, but it will hit no mark. And clearly a bad call to toss that early. There's still C4 in hand for the defense, though. And there's very little time for Mouz to make this push. Second C4 misses, and as Vandal drops, he will go down to Young entirely. The diffuser's still being planted, though, and the cover for Vertical is just not enough, as Young is able to stop the diffused plant. In the last seconds of these rounds, it's a 2 versus 4, and that'll make that a 1 versus 4. As Necrox takes out Vertical, Beastly from above is going to drop into his certain death. Evil Geniuses managed to end this half 3-2 Mouse's favor. So not a complete loss, but still a loss.
All in all, EG, their only 2 victories coming on CCTV so far. Very different style of play, both of them hinging on an early pick, though. I mean, you were right, the Capitao, losing that Capitao. You could use those asphyxiating bolts to pin down the push. That would have come in from the bars and vault, where we saw them run right in and kill the planter in England. That doesn't happen if you have a Capitao.
Yeah, and then the only other round that they managed to win, losing the Glaz, it's the same thing, really. It's, you know, losing one of the heavy utility-based operators early on, and then Evil Geniuses managed to sweep it up. Yeah,
I mean, that just goes to show you how important it is to have one operator that covers a very specific focus. And I mean, they didn't have that long-range ability to fight with the Jackal of Vertical playing all the way towards the single door, leading in towards the site. Very tough for them to be able to hold that one off, especially when you know that EG is doubling up on C4s, which they were doing. You've got both a Valkyrie and a Pulse playing, waiting to try to stop it. And I mean, Mouz did an excellent job baiting out those C4s. Nobody ended up going down. And as England came so close, it was probably 1 second away maybe from getting the plant down successfully.
That's pretty close.
Was when you saw the actual push come from EG, and that the steel chassis around the bomb was probably what ended up preventing Vertical from being able to land the shots he needed. So that round in particular, it was a big some mistakes from Mouz that ended up adding up, and for EG, they read it so well, and they played it to a T.
Absolutely. So very shortly, we'll be getting into the second half of this match on Bank. It's so far been a Mouse-favored match, and the big thing to note here is that they are not going to have to concern themselves with droning anymore. So think about that. Clearly, one of the weakest parts of their attacks have been the droning. Now, despite that, they are not going to. I was about to say, despite that, they've won both of their, or they've lost both of their attacks when pushing the site. But it's actually, again, as we talked about, those early picks have happened because of no one droning for them. So that's why they lost 2 rounds. They could be in a 5. All right, then.
NVK mastering the art of teleportation.
That was a visual bug, so clearly the barricade had been broken, but not popping through for us. Anyway, moving on. It could be a 5-0 right now if they hadn't lost those players. Moving on.
They don't have to drone, you're right. But they do have Vandal on the Echo.
They do have
Beastly on Valkyrie, and they do have Vertical on Pulse. So the drones, which are primarily going to be good for gathering the information that you need, they're going to have that available for them on defense. So they still need to make sure that they've got that coordination there to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Although I feel like since it's the gadgets, you know, they're going to be a little bit more inclined to use what they're picking that operator for, or so I would imagine. But yes, they do need to. They do need to do that. I don't know.
I mean, you never really know exactly how well these teams are going to be playing in this position. Hyper on the security stairs here. Now, this is something we've seen a lot of, especially from North America, playing on those stairs with a deployable shield, usually an ADS or 2, typically with a shotgun, but I mean, Hyper's going to have the 416, which is pretty good at taking both close range and long range fights. There's a drone set up for possible flank watch from Necrox. I think he's just trying to figure out where it is. Great grenade from Canadian England, who was doing so well so long. So you lose your smoke. That's a pretty big operator to lose with a minute to go.
Yeah. And you could see that Mouz fell out of server. They just said bye-bye, and they managed to waste 2 minutes before falling back. Now the C4s have returned to the site, and they're going to be able to deny the defuse plant. But look at this, MVK in a very powerful position. Inside of that garage, he could be the thing that turns the tide of this round. I say turns the tide. Evil Geniuses still have the advantage, but Mouz are in a great spot to lock this out, despite having one man down.
This pulse is going to be a focal point as he's just able to relay this information over and over the next 20 seconds, and the only time you'll see him emerge is when he needs to get dirty himself and use that C4. For the most part, he's going to be a support-based operator. Oh, an unfortunate team kill as Hyper gets a little too greedy. He'll take out Vertical and NVK. Diffuser goes down successfully, so EG will be able to get the plant down. Great cover from Geo as he'll take 2 members of Mouse to the grave. You still see Maverick of Necrox just poking a little holes there inside of the metal reinforcement, making Vandal's retake even more difficult. He'll hop through a rotate hole inside of lockers, and you can see there, look at that entire wall that's been opened up. The pitter-patter sound of the suppressed MP5 will find no targets as the diffuser is just below halfway. But it's going to be the glass of Geo just staring right at Vandal, and unlike Vertical, at such close range, Geo's not going to miss. Still has the advanced reticle on as well, or the optic zoom, and a good read. EG will tie things up.
So the Glass clearly being incredibly powerful on that basement take, no matter which team is using him, and no matter which player. Great job to Geo there. Really instrumental in the outcome of that round. MVK as well, doubling up on the push from the garage. Although I believe Geo actually came from the main stairs. Either way, very important cutoff of the rotations for Mouse. It didn't seem like they were able to spring into action to deny the defuse plant after that. The only time they did deny it was because of Vandal's Yokai drone, and that was only once.
Yeah, and that was a good play from the Yokai drone, but I mean, Geo just commanded that side. In fact, Geo has actually been a very smart pickup for EG so far. He's top fragged in a number of games now, and he's really making his mark here, as I'm assuming he's approaching the double-digit mark. If we could, I'm sure, see the scoreboard as we head in now to round number 7. Last time I checked, Geo was sitting at 6. He picked up 3, so that does make a lot of sense now as he's at 9 kills and is leading the way for this team. He's been the lifeblood for them so far.
Yeah, he was the player to get both of those picks we put so much claim to in the first half on the Glaz and the Capital, which were what allowed Evil Geniuses to get those 2 defensive wins, in all likelihood. And he's also been the one now in attack to do so much damage while attacking the basement.
Now, this garage setup that we saw NVK be able to just waltz right through had next to no presence from Mouse. It's very different to the way that EG was defending it, because EG was usually placing the Echo in there with a deployable shield and probably had some form of intel, be it a Valkyrie camera or even a Yokai drone that was situated towards the mouth of that garage. We saw Beastly toss up a Valkyrie camera inside, so we know that there's going to be some visual for Mouse to make sure that NVK can't just walk right in through garage again.
I can tell you from personal experience that no matter what, if NVK wants to get in through garage, he's gonna get in through garage. Even if you hold garage for 2 minutes and 45 seconds, he will come in the last 15 and he will make his presence known there. If it's something he wants to do, it's something he's gonna do. Even when garage was easier to defend, back when you couldn't shoot through the glass of cars. So the black SUV inside of garage was basically like this fortress. Even back then, he could make his way in there with relative ease. Just something he, as an individual, is really good at.
Well, we'll see if he goes through that route. It didn't look like he was, as he was playing on the marble stairs, along with Geo now inside an open area. So 2 members of EG doubled up in very close proximity. They'll be joined by a third, as Necrox will be a little bit late to the party inside of open area. Hyper once again on the top of server stairs, as Young will use 1 flash, and there goes another flash, just trying to eat through these dual ADSs. And there you go, there's only 1 ADS remaining. Canadian from above, waiting to see if Hyper is going to poke his head out yet again and get maybe a bit too aggressive. Though Canadian will spot the Echo drone and just not fast enough reflexes. But look at how close Necrox is going to get here. He's going to try to dare Hyper to take an engagement, but I think Hyper's a little bit smarter than that. Only 1 charge left on the ADS as they've primed and ready. Actually completely bled out, no ADS. They'll break the shield, but Hyper has fallen off enough to not take any damage. It actually looks like the shield might still be up as well. Yeah,
that's a bit odd. The shield's still in play, so that's well, it's great for Hyper. Vertical also inside his server is going to be calling out the push to his teammate, and Hyper gets a headshot over top that shield before Canadian is able to refrag it. But another refrag, and this time at the hands of Vertical. So Mouse maintain their man advantage inside of the server, and just in general. That's going to prompt Evil Geniuses to push from other angles. You can see MVK coming down those main stairs. He's looking for an opportunity here, but the barricades are going to make it so he has to give away his position if he wants to influence this round.
And he's going to have to break through them in 30 seconds, so not only will his position be known, but he's also going to have to waste a little bit of time here. Vertical just missing his gunfights and Thermites on both sides of the board being able to clean up exactly as need be. With breaching charges, NVK seems primed and ready to blow open the double doors from Garage, and smokes from England will go down, well timed. Waiting to see where NVK will spring from. The ACOG of Vandal just waiting, watching. Yokai drone still very much in play, and this is a win for EG. They'll knock the Thermite out, and coming very close to actually mistiming that, but Vandal, good use of the gadgetry there. Necrox unable to find the Yokais for his team as he played on that IQ roll. Mouz will retake the lead. Interesting here, we've gone through 7 rounds and 4 of them, the diffuser has been planted successfully. More rounds than we haven't so far. That doesn't happen every day.
Definitely a bit of an oddity. But in that round, yeah. A lot of that has to do, I think, with how much Evil Geniuses struggled with taking server. They were trying to push into the server stairs. They got held up by the shield and the ADSs, and so much utility was expended by Evil Geniuses to deal with that. Lives were used, and time was used. And following all that, following the great stall out by the server, Evil Geniuses just couldn't recover. The Yokai drone still being in play inside of the site was all it really took. And the IQ did manage to get the one Yokai drone, but died as he was pushing into the server stairs, thanks to that shield not being destroyed.
I'm honestly amazed that shield didn't blow up when they tossed down the red grenade. I almost assuredly thought I saw it, and I mean, it definitely seemed like it was more in the radius to blow that shield up as well. I'm very perplexed.
You know, there might be a little bit of a nook there at the top of the server stairs. I kind of want to see now, but who knows if we'll find out. But I want to see maybe there's like a little corner. Yeah, we can't actually find from the top-down view. We can't see it, but maybe we'll find out some other time. I'm trying to imagine what absorbed the damage of the nade. There's got to be something that managed to make it so the shield wasn't broken. Whatever the case, it was a huge part of Mouz taking that round. Now, they're going to be going to Tellers this time around, and this is something that they have not defended yet. We have not seen anything other than basement Tellers so far between these two teams. Across these 8 rounds, it's been basement, Tellers, Tellers, basement, 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 Tellers. So, lots of the same. Geo going to be pushing into the main lobby. He's just looking for cams, looking for information. IQ is a super important operator on this map.
Yeah, I mean, they had Necrox on that role before. They put Necrox now onto the hard breach role. You got Geo on his role as IQ. Early fight between both Vandal and Canadian. We'll see Canadian walk away with it. So long, Vandal. And now Canadian's going to look for another, this time around on Vertical, and 2 great shots here. Vertical's just going to drop. He's got 2 hatches available. He's going to toss out one of his soup cans, as they're sometimes affectionately called, a Gumine, towards the doorway here of Janitorial, or Janitor. And now he's just going to sit and wait. And Vertical's going to see if a head is going to pop up, waiting to hear that telltale sign of a possible Gumine go off. One Valkyrie camera is going to get shot out and found, so that's going to be some information that Hyper will lose. Canadian meeting his end at the barrel of England there, the smoke playing. So Canadian didn't have very much left, likely doing some skeleton key destruction and then just seeing the shotgun on the other side of it.
A great job there to England, finally shutting down the roam clearing Buck. And it seemed as though that he was trying to push into the site, or maybe just trying to open up from above. Either way, Mouz in good position here. Evil Genius is clearly trying to take in through the main lobby. Young has droned out Tellers. That drone will be destroyed by Beastly, who is going to maintain the Tellers position as just himself. Very dangerous for him to be doing this alone. He's got, as you can see, England in a position to use his gas canisters from the other site, but still, you know, the ump against the fierce firepower that Evil Geniuses are bringing to the field, most notably that Young on Blackbeard. You're not really going to have a good engagement against a Blackbeard using an ump. no matter what, no matter how you look at them. It's like the MPX and UMP. These are just guns that do not do well against Blackbeard.
No, and I mean, you can hear, it sounds like actually one of the shields may have just broken there. It sounded like the telltale sign of glass shattering, but no, Young has still got it very much in play. Geo will go down. NVK takes out Hyper, so both team will lose one amidst the smoke. Can we see the plant go down? Shield broken from the UMP. Young will get away with just a tiny bit of HP. Lots of disorientation here. But look at this. Both NVK and Young are so low. Vertical's there. England is down. Diffuser goes down. Almost a clutch. It's all up to Necrox versus England. England is at full HP. Necrox is so low. But Necrox will have just given his position away. Playing by this door here. England's going to try to just close out the diffuse. Necrox will get down, and England knows he's got the fall. And that'll be an easy plant. England coming in so clutch for his team. I don't think he knows that Necrox is down, but...
It shouldn't matter.
I think he was going for the kill. I think they were saying secure your kill, go get your kill. But anyway.
He saw the blood trail, he knows.
We'll have another round with Diffuser down, and Mousesports are making sure that England will not go undefeated in Pro League, because at worst they're going to draw. So England, his streak is safe. EG, best they can do is fight for 1 point. But right now, Mouse, these are 3 huge points as they continue their march towards the playoffs.
Yeah, great job keeping that undefeated streak alive. And if nothing else, they're going to draw. So, Evil Geniuses have not gotten a draw or a loss so far in this second half of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they won against Rogue, they won against Space Station, they won against Noble, and now, finally, they will draw, if not lose, against Mousesports, who have been having a great second half of the season as well. So, Mouse are going to propel themselves pretty far up with this draw or win. Well, I mean, if they get the win, they will. CEO going to be the next site for Mouse. They could go, I believe they could go down to the, I want to say they could go down to the basement. No, they want it. My mistake. They're going to have to go to CEO or open area, which is kind of odd because Evil Geniuses didn't push us there. Evil Geniuses only managed to win the first defense and their last defense. Both were on the basement. But Mouse have now done 2 in a row, and they're looking to make a third.
And Mighty Mouse trying to channel some energy from the ESL 1 event that took place this weekend in New York. Counter-Strike. Mousesports won the championship for our parent company ESL, having their ESL 1 event, like I stated, in New York. Mousesports ended up beating Team Liquid in the finals. So can Mousesports also put together a victory in Rainbow6 and have a pretty good 24-hour stretch of time here in first-person shooters? Well, we're about to find out. EG bringing this Maverick once again, seeing if it'll work this time around. It did work downstairs, but this is a whole new ballgame. Upstairs in CEO, an interesting site to hold, and one that you can lose very quickly if you don't have your defense structured properly.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy hold for anybody, but it's something you can pull off for sure. Now, you can see MVK has transitioned onto Ash. I've talked about in the past how much I like to see MVK playing Ash. Just raw fragging talent. We'll see if it's enough, though, for Evil Geniuses to recover this match. They only need to win 2 in a row, technically. Ash is actually going to be really useful here, as it looks like we have quite a few unreinforced walls that could be opened up to great advantage for the attacking team, especially if they get control over storage. Hyper's going to start things off, though, with a good kill onto Canadian, so a lot of soft destruction gone, and the diffuser is downed in the main lobby, just outside of ATMs. That's not likely to have been called out, but it's still a good play.
Both Geo and Young are down there close enough to possibly try and get that diffuser. Now, as long as there's no coverage, this could be a very easy kill onto Necrox, as on the Valkyrie camera, Vertical's going to spot Necrox playing by this wall. He's going to go prone and still see the Maverick there. And Maverick holding out that blowtorch. This could be a good way to jump on the Maverick, and this could set things apart here.
Oh, well, the C4 is going to miss, though. Unfortunate for Vertical. He's looking to get aggressive. He keeps coming back on his cams. I would really love to see him ask one of his teammates to get on cams. This is the same problem that they had on attack. They're now having on defense. Somebody who's safe right now and in a corner, just waiting around the round, ask him to get on your cam. Ask him to call the play for you so that you can go for that kill if you really want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, even now, still vertical on this, and I don't know if there's a call being made to deep flank or not, but it's just not happening. Oh, that's going to be a miss from Geo as look at Hyper trying to take this long-range fight. Necrox finds Hyper. England will trade off Geo, so both teams will drop one, and vertical, great shot on NVK, so long, proving that Ash does indeed have a hitbox for her head. Necrox and Young last up. Necrox taking out vertical. England will have some heavy lifting to do as Necrox has been down. Finished off by Vandal, and Young is the sole man up for EG. Mouz looking to close this one out, and it'll be Beastly putting the victory in favor of Mouz. And that's a big, big 3 points for Mouz. Not just trying to stay away from the relegation spot, but also trying to claw their way up. Or if a Mouz, rather, scramble their way up towards the playoffs.
Great job to Mouz there to win the match 6-3. And as much as they had a pretty abysmal first half of the season, the second half has looked so very good. And that'll be their 3rd win for this second half and their 4th win overall.
So they have, Mouz has not lost in this second half of the season.
Yeah, and Evil Genius has just lost their first one.
So
in the second half.
I mean, we'd have to really look at this, but could it be that Mousesports is the only team that